You have no knowledge of the condition of those two gloves before you, items 9 and 37, on June 12, 1994, do you?
I think that's the third time I've heard this question this morning.
You may have, this is foundational.
This is the third time I'd like to object to it.
Sustained.
It was foundational, but with regard to, you have no knowledge of at what point the items before you were shrunk, if they were shrunk at any time.
Objection.
Overruled.
Question.
I do not.
And when you talked to Mr. Darden on all these occasions, did he show you some charts that had been drawn by the LAPD back on June 21st, 1994, with the actual measurements of those two gloves there before you?
Yes, he did.
And so you saw that from those charts, that the actual fingers had actually been measured back on June 21st, right?
That's correct.
And how long did you get to have occasion to study those particular charts that he gave you?
Just a moment.
All right, anything else, counsel?
I have just a second here.
Mr. Darden?
Just a few, Your Honor. Mr. Rubin, you testified a moment ago that there's more substance on the right glove.
That's correct.
Okay, that would be item 9, the Rockingham glove. For the
The
record,
right
Your Honor.
The right glove.
Okay.
That's correct.
And the fact that there's more substance on the Rockingham glove, is that consistent then with that glove having been?
Overruled. So far.
Is that consistent with that glove having been saturated with more liquid than the left glove?
Overruled.
I'm not 100% sure I understand the question. You want me to tell you that
Overruled. He can ask clarification.
you want me to tell you what the effect of the excessive substance on the right glove did to the glove in comparison to the left glove?
No. All I want to know is this. Is there more substance on the right glove?
Yes, there is.
Does that mean that the right glove absorbed more substance than the left glove?
Sustained.
Do you know? Can you tell us whether or not the right glove absorbed more substance than the other? He asked the same question.
It appears that way.
Okay. Now, you're not, we'll strike that. You didn't watch the coroner's testimony in this case, did you?
No, I did not.
So you don't know which hand he says the killer used to.
Sustained.
You also told us that there is no cut on a finger on the left glove,
That's correct.
and that would be the Bundy glove, Your Honor?
Yes.
Now, are you aware that that glove was found at the scene at Bundy?
Overruled.
I am since I arrived here.
Okay. You also indicated that the right-handed glove had more wear and tear on it, apparently.
Most definitely.
Okay. That is than the left glove?
Excuse me?
It has more wear and tear than the left glove?
Definitely.
Okay. And having that information, does that indicate to you, or give you any indication as to whether or not the person who owned those gloves was right-handed or left-handed?
I can't determine that.
You also told us that women usually buy gloves.
That's correct.
They usually buy men's gloves.
That's correct.
So they usually get the right size.
Sustained.
Does it happen that women, when they buy gloves for their men, don't get the right size?
Sustained. I don't think we need a glove expert to tell us about shopping.
Okay. I have two diagrams, Your Honor. May they be marked 402A and B?
All right, 402A and B. Yes.
May the record reflect that I've indicated 402A and B in the upper right-hand corner.
Noted. And would you show those to Mr. Cochran, please? Show them, Mr. Cochran, please.
Showing you what is remarked 402A and B. Are these the two diagrams you saw in my office?
Yes, they are.
And those diagrams indicate the amount of shrinkage to the Rockingham and Bundy gloves. Is that correct?
Sustained. Rephrase the question.
Okay. Do you know what what is depicted on those documents?
Excuse me?
Sustained.
Well, throw them on the Alamo then. Gonna throw them on the Alamo?
Counsel, let me see it sidebar. With the report. Thank you, counsel. Proceed.
Oh, I have nothing further.
All right. Mr. Cochran?
Can I have one moment, Your Honor?
Certainly. One.
Mr. Rubin, with regard to the Eris light gloves there that are supposed to be a snug fit,
Oh, roll.
it's very difficult, is it not, to get a snug-fitting pair of those Eris light gloves off of one's hands once they're fitted on your hands. Isn't that correct?
Objection, Your Honor. The jury saw the demonstration.
You can tell us about what it was designed to do.
These gloves, as well as most fine dress gloves, come off easiest when the hand is extended and the thumb is tucked in toward the hand to make the glove slide off easier. Any movement of the thumb upwards would restrict going on or off, obviously, and then any cupping of the fingers would restrict the glove coming off easily.
Thank you very kindly.
All right, Mr. Rubin. Thank you, sir. All right, you are excused.
Thank you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, when we scheduled the testimony for today, it was my anticipation that we would just have a short session this morning, and I made plans to take my staff out to lunch. I'm sure you will not be surprised to learn that Mrs. Robertson has been voted the Superior Court Employee of the Quarter. I'm sure that comes as no surprise to you. And also, one of our court reporters, today is her birthday. And so we were going to go out to lunch. I would like to finish the next two quick witnesses so we can go out and do that. But anybody need to take a comfort break? We'll do that right now. Okay, let's take a 5-minute comfort break. We'll finish the two witnesses. All right. Of our jury members, and people may call their next witness.
Thank you very much, Your Honor. Let me thank the court and ladies and gentlemen of the jury for allowing us to go through the noon hour. People call Ms. Llewellyn Roberts.
All right, Ms. Roberts, come forward, please. Please raise your right hand, face the clerk.
Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you may give in the cross testimony before this court should be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Please have a seat and witness stand and state and spell your first and last names for the record.
Llewellyn Robertson,
And would you spell that for us, please?
L-U-E-L-L-E-N, last name R-O-B-E-R-T-S-O-N.
All right, thank you, ma'am. Ms. Clark.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Robertson, can you please tell us what you do for a living?
I am one of the custodian of records for AirTouch Cellular.
And what is AirTouch Cellular?
We are a provider of cellular services.
And when you say cellular services, is that a phone company of some kind?
Yes, mobile phone cellular service.
Does that company service telephones that are completely portable only, or does it also service telephones that are fixed in a car?
3 different types of phones: portable, completely portable, transportable, and also installed in the car.
What do you mean by transportable?
It can be either plugged into the car, or you can take it with you, hang it over your shoulder.
And you service all 3 kinds?
Yes.
Is there any way that you can tell by looking at someone's bill, phone bill, whether the phone is portable completely, that is, you just take it anywhere and use it, or transportable, that means plugged into a car or taken out of the car or fixed in the car?
On the phone bill, no.
Is there some other record you have that does indicate that?
The manufacturer can usually tell.
But your company can't tell that.
No.
Can you tell us, or ma'am, what are your duties?
Mainly, my main duties are to respond to court orders and search warrants, subpoenas, any kind of requests for customer information.
Now, do you have some expertise in the interpretation of the phone records that your company generates?
Yes, I am familiar with the billing that our company generates.
And the records that are generated, that is internally in your company, as well as the bills that go out to customers, are those records that are maintained and kept in the normal course of business?
Yes.
And are they filled out in the normal course of business at or near the time of the call being made?
Yes.
We have a chart. That's all right. People's next in order, Your Honor. People's 404, would that be?
403.
403, thank you.
All right, and this is a chart.
I'm sorry, Your Honor. It is a chart entitled Defendant's Cell Phone Calls for the night of June the 12th, 1994, and it bears an enlargement of one page of the phone bill for the defendant. If I may, Your Honor, I'm going to ask to put it, locate it, send it into the jury so they can see it.
Yes.
Mr. Escobar is assisting me.
Noted. Thank you.
Have you been able to see this, Ms. Robertson?
Yes.
Now, the board that is now in front of the jury, what does it depict?
Well, I personally can't see it right now.
One step down, look.
But I have a copy of what you've got there.
Okay, why don't you take the copy you have and step down and look at the chart and tell us if the chart shows an accurate and true copy of the record that your company generates.
Yes.
Go ahead, you can have a seat now.
Ms. Clark.
Thank you, Rana. Now, Ms. Robertson, let me ask you a couple of preliminary questions. First of all, what is the record on this chart marked 403?
This is a copy of the 12th page for the billing date June 15th, 1994, for mobile phone number 310-613-3232.
And to whom is that number registered?
Our records indicate that the account was assigned to O.J. Simpson.
And with respect to the date of June the 12th, well, let me ask you more generally. On your phone bills, including the one now marked as People's 403, is there certain information generated concerning the nature of each call made?
Each call is registered on the billing statement with the date of the call, the time, the location to which the call was made or what type of call it was, the number that was dialed, any features involved with that call, such as call forwarding, the duration of the call, what we charge, and some summary information also.
All right. I'm going to go through the bill that's now in front of the jury, and I'm going to ask you, with respect to certain entries for this phone bill for the defendant, what each of the entries means. I'm going to take as my first example, there's a phone call on June the 12th at, and that seems, it's under the date.
Yes.
Now, do these bills register every phone call made from the cellular phone?
Some calls never make it to the bill.
For the purpose of privacy of some of the numbers, we're going to make sure that all of these numbers have been changed. I believe they have.
Ms. Clark.
Thank you, Your Honor. All right, so every call is not registered on the bill?
Some calls never even make it into the cellular system because of one reason or another, and so they never get processed and end up on the billing statement.
How does that happen?
What we call call blocking. Maybe there's too many calls taking place near a certain cell site, and it may not make it. You get a fast, busy signal.
If the cell site is busy?
Yes.
Okay. But when when the phone being called, let me make this clear. When the cell phone is used to place a call, the number is dialed and the phone rings, will it then register on the bill?
Yes.
Now, with respect to June the 12th, after that there is a column entitled Time. Does that reflect the time at which the call was made?
Yes.
Is that accurate?
To the best of our knowledge, it's accurate.
And how does that time register? Is there a computer or something that registers that?
There's a timer in our switching equipment that is set, and that's the time that's recorded when the call's made.
There's a call indicated here at 2:18 p.m., and then the next column says to from location.
Yes.
And what does that mean?
This was a call that was placed to a number that is listed in the West Los Angeles Exchange.
So does that indicate the location to which the call is made?
Yes.
And then after that it says number, and what does that indicate?
Indicates the number dialed.
And at 2:18 p.m. on June the 12th, the number 310-826-0403 was called.
That's correct.
After that, there's a column that is indicated as FEAT, F-E-A-T.
Yes.
And what is that?
It's short for feature.
What does that mean?
It could include a feature, maybe call forwarding or call waiting or three-way calling, just a feature that might have been used with that call.
In the instance of the call placed to 826-0403, there is no feature listed, correct?
That's correct.
Which means what?
Person-to-person call, no call forwarding, it's an outgoing call. There were no other parties involved in this call. It was just from the cellular phone to that number.
Now, after that, there's a column that says minutes, and in that column, for that call, it indicates 4 minutes.
That's correct.
Now, first of all, this is the bill that is sent to the customer, correct?
That's correct.
And the column that shows minutes shows 4 minutes on this bill, correct?
Correct.
Is that the actual duration of the call?
It may not be.
And why is that?
We round, AirTouch Cellular in their billing process rounds up to the next minute. So if you had a call that lasted for, say, 3.5 minutes, we would charge for 4 minutes.
And what is the actual duration of that? Well, do you maintain records that show the actual duration of the phone call?
We have other records that show the actual duration, yes.
And do you have those records with you?
Yes.
Are those records kept in the normal course of business?
We keep them as a reference. They are not billing records, but they're backup.
But are they kept in the normal course of your business?
Yes.
And are they prepared at or near the time that the call is made?
Yes.
Under employees, under a duty to do so?
Yes.
And can you tell us what the actual duration of the call to 826-0403 was on June the 12th?
At 2:18 p.m., the call was for 3 minutes and 9 seconds.
Counsel, I believe we've already marked the phone records that belong to, marked and introduced the phone records belonging to Nicole Brown that indicate her phone number is 310-826-0403. I'll have them pulled for counsel. With respect to the bottom 2 numbers that are highlighted on this chart, they indicate for the date of June the 12th,
Yes.
and the time 10:03 p.m. Would that be an accurate time for those phone calls to have been made from this cellular phone?
Yes.
I'm going to back up for a moment and ask you to interpret a couple of other entries here. After the 2:18 phone call to 826-0403, Nicole Brown's number, we have 2 more phone calls made at 2:22.
That's correct.
To Nicole Brown at 2:18. Does the time registered at 2:22 for those 2 incomplete calls appear to have come immediately thereafter.
Yes, immediately thereafter.
Counsel, may it be stipulated that the phone numbers registered under these two incomplete calls at 222, that is 305-582-6952, is the phone number in Florida for Paula Barbieri, was on the date of June the 12th.
Was so stipulated, was.
And may it also be stipulated, counsel, that the phone call indicated at 223 to West Los Angeles at 310-470-3468 was the West Los Angeles phone number for Paula Barbieri as of June the 12th, 1994.
So stipulated, Your Honor, was.
Yes. Thank you kindly, counsel. With respect to the incompletes noted at 222 for the 305 number for Paula Barbieri on June the 12th, can you indicate to us what that means?
This means that at 2:22 p.m., there were 2 calls placed within that minute time frame to area code 305-582-6952, which were incomplete calls, meaning that the call was never picked up at the other end. Either there was no answer or it was a busy.
You indicate on the phone bill here for those 2 calls 1 minute each.
That's correct.
Do you have an actual duration for those calls in your records?
Yes.
Can you tell us what they were?
For the first call, the duration was 46 seconds. The second call for 13 seconds.
Now moving down to 223, is that an accurate time for the call on June the 12th to Paula Barbieri's West Los Angeles number
Yes,
at 470-3468?
that's correct.
So that was placed at 223.
Correct.
It indicates the duration of time to be 2 minutes for that call.
That's correct.
What is the actual duration for that call that you have listed in your records?
1 minute and 27 seconds.
And following that entry on June the 12th, there is an entry at 2:24. Is that an accurate time for that phone call, ma'am?
Yes,
It's indicated as incomplete for the phone number of Paula Barbieri in Florida. Again, that's because the call did not go through.
that's what it says. Yes,
I mean,
it's
was not picked
incomplete.
up.
Right, correct,
And that could be, as you've indicated, because it was busy or just not answered.
correct.
And the duration of that call is indicated here as being 2 minutes as well.
Correct.
Could you tell us what is the actual duration of that phone call?
1 minute and 30 seconds.
And just below that, at 2:24 on June the 12th, is that the accurate time for that phone call?
The call below the 224 call?
No, the 2:24 call. Is that an accurate time for that next phone call?
Yes,
Given the actual duration of the call just before it to Paula Barbieri's West Los Angeles number, would this call have been placed immediately thereafter?
yes,
And this call is to 305-582-6952, Paula Barbieri's number in Florida?
yes.
And what does that indicate with respect to whether or not the call was picked up by anyone on the other side?
It could mean anything, whether it let it ring, he let it ring, or whoever was using the phone let it ring for 1 minute and 27, 1 minute and 30 seconds.
And so that call at 2:24 to Paula Barbieri's number in Florida was incomplete as well?
That's correct.
And the duration was, I'm sorry,
2 minutes.
on the phone bill?
Oh, the actual duration. 1 minute and 30 seconds.
And so we have 4 calls to Paula Barbieri immediately after the call to Nicole Brown at 826-0403.
4 calls in total that day, yes.
Now, right after that 2:24 entry in the afternoon of June the 12th, we have an entry here at 6:56 p.m. that says message MGR.
Yes.
What's message MGR?
It's a voicemail system for your cellular phone number.
And what is that?
You can leave a recording that says, "I'm away from my phone, please leave a message, I'll call you back." So what this means is that someone attempted to call this mobile number, 310-613-3232, and the call was forwarded to the message manager.
So that message manager there at 6:56 is an incoming call to the mobile phone?
Yes,
And that call, under feature, you have CF.
right.
What does that mean?
It means that no one picked up the cellular phone or answered the cellular phone, so the call was call forwarded to the voicemail system.
So this, the defendant's cell phone received a call at 6:56 p.m., which was not picked up by him. It was picked up by the message manager.
That's correct.
And you have a duration of the call, that incoming call at 6:56 p.m. as 5 minutes on the bill.
Yes.
What was do you have the actual duration for that?
I do not. That is not here on this record.
And on June 12th again, at 8:55 p.m., you have message manager.
That's correct.
And again, that's an incoming call.
Yes.
And you have CF under the feature indicating again that the voicemail picked up that call
Yes.
because the cell phone was not answered.
That's correct.
All right, now after 8:55 p.m., on June the 12th at 10:03 p.m., we have a call. Is that an accurate time, ma'am?
Yes.
A call to West Los Angeles, to Paula Barbieri's West Los Angeles number, indicates the duration to be 1 minute.
That's correct.
What is the actual duration of that phone call according to your records?
33 seconds.
And then there is a second call. It's registered here at being 10:03 p.m. as well.
That's correct.
Okay, so the second call immediately following that first call,
Yes.
this one indicates what with respect to, under the title of to and from location?
That it was an incomplete call.
Again, for the same reason stated before.
Yes.
And this to Paula Barbieri's Florida number at 582-6952.
Yes.
And the duration shows 1 minute on the bill. Can you tell us what the actual duration of that phone call was?
23 seconds.
Thank you. I have nothing further.
Good morning, Ms. Robertson. How are you?
Good morning or good afternoon.
With regard to these records that you've gone through with Ms. Clark, let's take, for instance, the incomplete phone call on June 12th at about 2:13 p.m. in the afternoon. If
Okay.
one, first of all, in calling the 305 582-6952 number, that number, you could call that particular number, and the person who has that 305 number, if it is a portable phone, could be in California. Isn't that correct? Or any place in the United States. Isn't that right?
They could be.
All right. So the question would be is whether or not the 305 number was a portable phone. Is that a correct statement?
Yes.
All right. Now, with regard to shifting to the two phone calls that were in rapid succession at about 2:22, that are both labeled incomplete on the People's Exhibit here for identification, with the number 305-582-6952 were called for approximately 1 minute. In that instance, it would have been possible to a person in a vehicle to make that call, for the phone to disconnect. Perhaps you went into an area where there were no cells or whatever, and if you lost contact, turn around and call right back again. Isn't that correct?
Yes.
In fact, if you have a car phone, you know that's a matter that happens very frequently, doesn't it?
Yes.
That you will be driving along, you'll have a number, for some reason because the cells or something happens, you'll lose contact with the person you're trying to call or whatever, you have to then dial back. Isn't that correct?
That's considered a dropped call.
All right. And that would also show in here as an incomplete, would it not?
Actually, it would show up as a completed call, but it would have a star next to it that showed that it was dropped.
All right. But drop. But as an incomplete call, if you were making a call to the 305 number,
Yes.
and as you got through the call, all of a sudden you lost contact, and you then dialed it again, that would be consistent with the two incompletes if you weren't able to complete the call. Is that correct? You made them in succession?
Yes.
All right. And in fact, on this particular date, you alluded to the fact there were, I think you said 4 calls made to the 305 number,
In total, yes.
all told. And each of those 305 calls were all incomplete. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And that meant that the caller was not able to reach whoever the person was of the 305 number. Is that correct?
That's correct.
All right. With regard to the call at 2:18, that was a completed call. Is that correct?
Correct.
And on the record here, it shows that call lasted approximately 4 minutes. And what was the exact time of that call, according to your records?
3 minutes and 9 seconds.
And again, you just rounded it up on the bill. You rounded up to like 4 minutes.
That's what our billing system does,
Okay.
yes.
And that was a completed call
Yes.
at 2:18.
Correct.
And you don't have or don't show any other calls to the number 826-0403, an area code 310, after 2:18 p.m. in the afternoon on June 12th, do you?
No, sir.
That's the only call your records reveal on that date. Is that correct?
Correct.
And you're aware that number was registered to Ms. Nicole Brown Simpson on that date?
I am now.
All right. You're aware of it today, right?
Yes.
And you show no other calls. And you show no other calls to that location that day, do you?
No, I do not.
All right. And then lastly, ma'am, with regard to the 2 calls at 10:03, on the people's chart here, it's shown that these calls both occurred at about 10:03. Is that what your records show?
Yes, sir.
And that would indicate to you these calls are made again in succession. Is that correct?
Yes.
And with regard to the first call, the one to the 470-3468 number, was that a completed call?
Yes.
Was that a message left, or did the parties talk, or what happened, you know?
There's no way of indicating that here.
So there was some kind of a completed call,
Yes.
or something picked up that phone. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right. What if that 305 phone, what if the 310 number had some kind of an answering machine? Would that show as a completed call?
Yes.
So if you dial that would show as a completed call, even though it's 1 minute. Is that correct?
Yes.
And so we're clear, how long was the 612-1003 call to West Los Angeles that your records show 1 minute? How long was that call in duration?
33 seconds.
And then there was a call right after that to the 305 location, and that was, you have that marked incomplete.
Correct.
And how long was that?
23 seconds.
So there was only a 10-minute difference between the so-called completed call and the incomplete call? Correct, that counts as correct. There was only a 10-second difference between the so-called completed call and the incomplete call?
That's about right, plus or minus a couple seconds.
Yeah. One was 33 seconds, one was 23 seconds?
Yes.
All right. Can I have just one last second? With regard, just one or two last questions. So that I'm clear. With regard to the 1003 call on 612 to the 310 number, the bill that you see there and the 33-second actual time, would that be consistent with the call being placed to an answering machine and the caller completed a message or whatever to that answering machine?
It could be.
All right. And then the later call, the call directly after that, which is marked incomplete, to the 305 exchange, would that be consistent with the call that was not complete? Is that correct?
Not complete, yes.
And if that 305 number was a portable number, that person could be in Las Vegas or in Los Angeles or any place. Is that correct?
They could be anywhere.
All right. You can't tell that from your records?
We cannot.
Now, you mentioned something about a manufacturer and telling where calls were made from. Do you have those records with you? You don't have those records, do you?
I think she testified that the manufacturer could tell what kind of phone it is.
All right. And is the court correct?
That's my understanding.
All right. And you don't have any records from any manufacturers? That's
No,
my
sir.
question. All right. Thank you very kindly. Thank you, Your Honor.
No further questions.
All right. Ms. Robertson, thank you very much. You are now excused. All right, next witness.
Let me offer to stipulate, I believe counsel has agreed, I will stipulate that as of June the 12th, Nicole Brown's phone number was 310-826-0403.
All right, ladies.
And we also have a stipulation regarding the other two members.
I thought we already did. You want to do it again?
Did
Did we already do it? Shall we do it again?
All right, why don't you take the exhibit down? Ms. Robertson, you can have it. Thank you. Take the exhibit down.
Yes, you want me to do the stipulation?
Yes. Say it over.
I just need to look at the board while I'm doing it, Your Honor.
All right.
Counsel, may it be stipulated that as of June the 12th, 1994, the phone number 310-470-3468 was belonged to Paula Barbieri, and that as of June the 12th, 1994, the phone number 305-582-6952 also belonged to Paula Barbieri, but in Florida.
Well, yes. Just one second.
Do it one more time. With respect to the phone number 305-582-6952, that was also a phone number registered to Paula Barbieri as of June the 12th, 1994.
So stipulated.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, as I instructed you yesterday, a stipulation is an agreement between the attorneys as to the facts that the stipulation relates to. You are to assume those facts to be true for the purpose of this trial. Next witness.
Thank you, Your Honor. The people call Ms. Kathleen Delaney.
All right, is she available immediately outside?
I'm sorry, Your Honor.
Is she immediately outside? All right, good afternoon, Ms. Delaney. Would you please raise your right hand and face the clerk, please?
You do solemnly swear that the testimony you may give in the cause now pending before this court should be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Please have a seat in the witness stand and state and spell your first and last names for the record.
Kathleen Delaney, Kathleen Delaney.
Ms. Clark.
Thank you. Ms. Delaney, can you please tell us what you do for a living?
Yes, I'm an attorney for the Mirage Casino Hotel in Las Vegas, Nevada.
And as such, what are your specific duties?
Part of my duties include custodian of records for the hotel.
And in your capacity as custodian of records, are you familiar with the records maintained by the hotel and the manner in which they are prepared?
Yes, I am.
Did you bring with you some records reflecting whether someone by the name of Paula Barbieri checked into the Mirage Hotel on or about June the 12th, 1994?
I did.
Can you please retrieve the records that are relevant to this determination? For the record, Your Honor, counsel has received a copy of all records, and I only intend to mark those relevant.
All right.
You have, I see in front of you a record that appears to be a computer printout.
That's correct.
Yes, you may.
And underneath that, I see that you have another record. Is that a duplicate?
That is a duplicate, yes.
That appears to have writing on it?
Yes, that would be my writing.
Your writing. All right. Counsel has agreed we can show this on the ELMO. We're going to block out the information relevant to other parties who would probably not appreciate the publicity. Okay. Oh. No. With respect to this record, Your Honor, I ask that it be marked Peoples 404.
Peoples 404.
All right, it's showing on the screen right now, ma'am. And if you need to refer to your copy with the notes on it, please do so.
Okay, that would probably be easier.
Now, first of all, can you tell us whether or not this record is a record that is generated by the Mirage Hotel in the normal course of business?
It is.
And is it compiled by employees under a duty to do so?
Yes, it is.
And is it also compiled at or near the time of the event? That is, the check-in or the information is entered with respect to a party checking into the hotel?
Yes.
Can you tell us, ma'am, what is shown in terms of information concerning the check-in of Paula Barbieri to the Mirage Hotel on this form?
This particular screen is actually the reservations division, the reservations listing by name, which is one section or one division of our computer system. And with regard to this form, what it shows is that a reservation was made for the name Paula Barbieri. The reservation was made on June 11th, 1994, and then it contains information regarding how that reservation was guaranteed.
All right, if I may, Your Honor, I'd like to highlight the areas the witness is talking about since there are so many numbers on this. All right, now, with respect to the name, I'm going to highlight, you tell me if I'm doing the right thing.
That's
Where I'm
correct.
about to highlight, that's the name of the customer?
That's correct.
Or the name to whom the room will be registered?
That's correct.
Is there an indication on this form as well when the reservation was made?
Yes, that would be if you follow the line where the name appears all the way across, you will see a date portion, and it'll say 6/11/94. There are no slashes dividing that date, but you should see that.
Right. And would that be right there?
That's correct, and you can see above it on the report where it indicates that's the date column.
I see. And that would be right here?
That's correct.
And I've highlighted
There
those.
should be a monitor right
I'm sorry,
there. There you
okay.
go.
Thank you, Your Honor.
That's easier.
And for the record, I've highlighted where the witnesses guided me to. I guess the exhibit will be the best evidence of that. Now, with respect to, then it was, that room was reserved for Paula Barbieri on June the 11th, 1994.
That's correct.
And there's an indication, I'm going to move it to the middle. It shows petite plan A. What's that?
That is one line that we have to give detailed information which the reservation clerk might feel is important regarding that reservation. Any information that can't fit on that line would then scroll on over to the comment screens, which would appear on the checkout sheets. So this would have detailed information regarding the reservation that we would have been given at the time the reservation was made.
What does petite mean?
Petite would be one of our room types. It's a petite suite.
And then it says, attention Dorothy.
Yes, actually, directly after petite, it says Plan A. That's the rate plan at which the room was reserved and then rented at. The attention Dorothy is the designation. The reservation clerk always indicates the name of the travel agent, if there is one, who made the reservation. So that would be Dorothy, the travel agent, and just above her name, you will see the name Teasel Travel. That would be the company that Dorothy works for.
And I see below Teasel Travel, it says CC Holder, Michael, and then it goes down to Bolton.
Well, what this record does is on this line it says CC means credit card holder, Michael, and then again, we only have the one line within this division, this reservations division of our records. Any comments, we have unlimited comment space. It would scroll down to the remainder comment screens, which would be in the checkout division. And the name Bolton does appear on that particular record.
For the record, I've highlighted where it says CC Holder, Michael, and then I'm going to highlight Bolton on the line below. Have I done so correctly?
Yes, that's correct.
And what does that indicate?
That would indicate that per Dorothy with Teasel Travel, who spoke to our room reservations clerk, that reservation was guaranteed by Michael Bolton, and there's a credit card number that would pertain to that reservation.
You aware who Michael Bolton is?
I know of a singer named Michael Bolton.
Was he performing in Las Vegas at that time, to the best of your knowledge?
I am not aware if he was performing, but I am aware that he was staying at the hotel
At
during
Marcia?
that time.
As of what, June the 11th or June the 12th?
As of June the 12th.
Now, over to the side where, the left-hand side of the page as you face it, where it says comment, I see 6/11/94 and 15:55. Can you tell us what that means?
That would be the time that the reservation was taken. And I might indicate you're showing a person's name there on the...
Just realized that. I'm going to try and, I'm going to cover that up right now with
Okay.
my fingers and ask that Mr. Fairlow hide that information. And I'm going to just highlight that. 15:55, I'm going to take this down now. But 15:55 on June the 11th indicates,
when the reservation was received.
and 15:55 is military time, is it?
That's correct.
For what?
3:55.
I'm going to ask that Mr. Fairlow be allowed to black out the name that goes to another customer.
It actually might be more accurate to say that that would be the time that the information was inputted into the system.
And would the information then have been given at or near the time of that input?
Absolutely, immediately after.
So it would have been very near, almost, so the time of 3:55 on June the 11th would have been within minutes after having received the information, that is the reservation for Paula Barbieri?
The reservation clerk would have a headset, would be receiving the information, and would be inputting it into the computer as it's being received. But, you know, in terms of all of the information that's contained here, some may be inputted after the call is terminated, but it would all be contemporaneous.
Now, can you tell us if you have records reflecting exactly when Paula Barbieri checked into the Mirage Hotel in Las Vegas?
Yes, I have another document, which would be a guest registration card, which was provided, and that would indicate the time of check-in.
I may see it. Okay, I'm going to show it.
We also have in our checkout screen an indication of the arrival and departure times, and they correspond.
And is that a separate record that you're referring to, ma'am?
That's correct.
Can you show us which one that is?
Yes, that would be.
All right, now the record you've just shown myself and council appears to have a cutoff.
That's all right.
Sorry. Okay, with respect to the first bill that I've just shown to Mr. Cochran, there appears to be a signature at the bottom,
That's correct.
and it's a little bit cut off. Can you tell us what happened to the lower right-hand corner?
It appears to be partially obscured. It would be a flaw in the process of putting it onto the microfiche. All of these records are maintained, kept and maintained on microfiche, and there would have been a flaw.
Now, there does appear to be a signature there.
Yes.
Does it appear to be most of the name Paula Barbieri?
I see the name Paula, and I see the last name Barbiie.
That's
And-
and then it cuts off.
And then it cuts off.
Is there, however, also her printed name on this form?
Yes, directly to the left of the signature and address block.
And does it reflect on this form what time she checked in?
Yes, it's just above and to the left of the name and address block, and it indicates 13:59 military time or 1:59.
So at
PM.
at 1:59 on June the 12th, she checked into the Mirage Hotel
That's correct.
pursuant to the reservation by Michael Bolton made the day before.
Correct.
Now, there appears to be a partial address underneath her signature.
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to block that out, but I would like to allow the ladies and gentlemen of the jury to see this record with, Council, I'm blocking out the address, Your Honor. I blocked it out, and we're also going to put the piece of paper over it. Thank you, John. All right, then, on this bill, it indicates, now, once again, is this a record prepared by the Mirage Hotel in the normal course of business?
Yes, it is.
And is this record prepared by an employee under a duty to prepare such records?
That's correct.
And is it also prepared at or near the time of the event, that is, of the check-in of the person that is indicated on the form?
Yes.
And can you tell us where on this form it's indicated what date Ms. Barbieri checked in?
There is a box on the top line that has a heading Arrival, and it indicates 6/12/94.
I'm going to remove this for a moment, Your Honor. We have a credit card number indicated on it.
All right, counsel, can we speed this up? I mean, is the issue the check-in and the check-out times?
Yes, Your Honor, almost done.
All right.
Okay, for the record, I've highlighted the date and time of arrival of June the 12th at 1:59 p.m., and I'm going to ask to leave this record with Mr. Fairglow so that he can block out the identifying information. And is there an indication as to when she checked out? Do you have a record for that?
Yes, again, a screen I mentioned a moment ago, the third of the three division screens in our tandem system is considered a checkout listing by name. We have that record, and that not only shows the arrival time, it shows the checkout, and it contains various other information, including all comments made during that particular guest's stay.
And what record is that?
I would call it checkout listing by name. It's a checkout division, printing, computer printing. And I handed it to you a moment ago, you should have it. It has other people's names on it again, as did the prior document. Ms. Barbieri's information is towards the bottom of that document.
All right, I'm folding it down now so that I can reveal just the information pertaining to Ms. Barbieri.
There is one additional name below Ms. Barbieri, which you might want to block out.
Do that as well. I'm just going to fold it. And that last record, Your Honor, I asked that it be marked Peoples.
405.
Thank you. Your Honor, I have the record referred to by the witness. I'd like it to mark Peoples 406. If I may.
Thought we just marked it. But proceed.
This is another record.
All right, proceed.
Is this the folded version of the record you just referred to, ma'am?
Yes, it is.
And again, with respect to its preparation, is this prepared in the normal course of business at the Mirage Hotel
Yes,
by people under a duty to do so
yes,
at or near the time of the events that are reflected in that document?
yes.
And does this document reflect when Ms. Barbieri checked out?
It does. As a matter of fact, you've partially folded, I believe, or maybe you just caught that. It should be at the very top on the right-hand side of the screen, arrive, and then it has a 6/12/94, 13:59. Then just below it, depart, 6/15/94 at 13:46.
All right.
Military
We are
time.
zooming in on that now.
The times are to the right, yes.
And I'm going to highlight that for the record. So it reflects that Ms. Barbieri checked in at 1:59 p.m. on June the 12th and checked out at 6:15. I'm going to take it. And she checked out on June 15th at 1:46 p.m.
Correct.
All right, anything else?
Nothing further.
Mr. Cochran?
Good afternoon, counsel.
Afternoon.
With regard to the records we've just seen, are you aware that on that particular weekend, Michael Bolton was hosting a celebrity softball game in Las Vegas on Sunday, June 12th?
I'm not aware of that in particular. I remember the event
Right.
taking place at some point in time.
And you knew it was on that particular date, on or about June 12th?
I'm not aware of what date it was.
But you, from checking your records as a custodian of records, you were aware that he had maintained and brought a number of people in and guaranteed their rooms at the Mirage, had he not, during this time frame?
I know that he was staying there personally. I'm not aware of what other reservations might have been made by him or under his name.
You didn't have occasion to check those?
They didn't appear in correlation to Ms. Barbieri's records, and the subpoena was limited to that.
It was limited to just Barbieri, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. So there may have been others and other people who were there as his guests, but you weren't asked to look at that, is that correct?
No.
Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure, thank you. And were you aware also that on that Monday, which I guess will be June 13th, that Michael Bolton had a concert at the Thomas and Mack Arena there in Las Vegas, unveiling his new video?
I was not aware of that.
Were you aware of whether or not Paula Barbieri had been in that video, his musical video?
No, I'm not aware of
Not
that.
aware of that either?
No.
All right, well, thank you very kindly. Nothing further.
Ms. Clark, anything else?
Nothing further.
All right, thank you very much, counsel. You're excused.
Thank you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take our recess for the day. Let me say one other thing to you, however. When I was commenting to you earlier about the fact that the prosecution anticipates resting perhaps at the end of next week, and I indicated to you that means perhaps we've finished half of the case at this point, I misspoke myself because, as you recollect, the defense has no obligation whatsoever, as I instructed you at the beginning of the case, to present any evidence at all. So at this point, all we're certain is that the prosecution may be concluding their case by the end of next week. All right? I think you recollect my initial instructions regarding the burden of proof. All right, well, as far as the jury is concerned, we will stand in recess until 1:30, and I'll expect counsel here at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning for the hearing. All right, we'll be in recess.